Okay. Sorry, guys. Um, Let me show you the setup first, and then we'll start our session. I have one DC and two machines, and one more machine. This is in stopped state, so you can ignore for the moment. This is 2016 Node 1 and 2016 Node 2 and SQL DC. And it is on Windows 2016 also. So let me connect the second node as well. The second node, I didn't practice anything. So what I'm going to do, it will be in front of you. So if at all, if we are getting errors, please bear with me. I don't think we will get, but in case. So yesterday I shared a document, right? Let me open that document also. So I need to show you something. That is the reason I took this class. Always on issue. Okay. Whenever we create missions, it will eat up my euros quickly, but I have to spin them up to understand the topics. So my only request is not to share the videos. That's it. Anyways, so coming back to our topic, um, I said we moved the files. Let me explain the scenario first for a few seconds, and then I will start our session. So last night we had an issue in one of our production servers. So we thought of moving the tempDB from T drive to D drive. So that is the main agenda, and also we thought of enabling the read commit snapshot. Okay, so just think that you are appearing for interviews and you can explain this scenario to the interviews, stating that you have done this and you have not panicked. Okay, so the scenario is you are going to interview and you are going to explain about the issue what you faced with always on. Okay, before it started not with always on problem, it started with the blockings. So you thought of enabling read commit snapshot, and also you thought of moving the tempdb files from T drive to D drive. So what is D drive? You have to understand that a lot. Every Azure machine, whatever the machine, whether it is web server, app server, whatever the server, once you provision that, okay. So why I'm not getting this? Yeah. Once you provision any machine, you will get C drive, which is having the operating system, and also you get D drive. So these two drives comes naturally for us. Okay, that you have to understand. Okay, any Azure virtual machine, whether it is web server or app server or DB server, no matter what it is. So all the machines will be provisioned with two disks. One is C drive, which hosts the operating system, and the other one is D drive, which is like temporary disk. Okay, so now um, coming back to the problem, we have one more disk, T drive. So we thought of moving from that T drive to D drive. Okay. So as I said, this is temporary disk, means whatever you create, it will get wiped out when you restart the server. Okay. So when you restart the server, the contents will be lost. So if I keep my tempdb files, there will be no harm because my tempdb files would get recreated if I restart my instance or if I restart my server. So that is the advantage. And also this comes with SSD. You don't need to provide one more SSD or one more disk. So you can make use of the same disk. The only thing that you need to consider is it depends upon the size. Okay. When I say size, what is size here? So size is nothing but when I provision the missions. Okay. So when I provision this mission, like for example, if I take this mission, so I'm coming up with size as standard D4S V3. So if I go to D4S V3, so let me minimize this as well. Okay, this is my mission. So I'm getting um, 4 CPUs, 16 GB, and the data disk has 8 and some IOPS and something like this, right? So by default, your D drive will also be provisioned automatically based on your size. So you cannot extend that. You cannot extend your D drive. So if you want more size and if your DB sizes, if your databases are more hungry for tempdb, then you have to create a separate disk for your tempdb. Else you can make use of D drive as your tempdb. Did you get my point? That is very important. The main concern is you can make use of tempdb for hosting your files on Azure VMs, but only thing that you have to remember is if your databases are more hunger for tempDB and it is eating up your tempDB, then you cannot make use of this disk because whatever disk comes, it comes predefined with predefined size. For D4SV3, it is 32 GB. For some other size, it can be 64 GB or 128 GB. So it comes based on your selection of your VM. Okay, and if that size is not good enough for your tempDB utilization, then you have to create separate drive. Do you get this point before I move on?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So that is what we thought. Like we thought of moving, they allocated a separate drive for us. I thought it's not required because I told them D drive is good enough. So thought of moving, just imagine this as T drive to D drive. Okay. But the problem happened with us at the time of the issue is nothing but um, when we thought of moving, we changed the password on second. We thought of doing it on secondary first. So we changed the tempDB files from T drive to D drive. But unfortunately, the password for the SQL Server service account got expired. And I am not aware of that because the system is not being managed by me. It's with some other teammate. He was not there, so I was pulled in for this task. Unfortunately, I don't know the password for that service account. Of course, we got it from LastPass. But the thing is that once I moved the files and once I restarted the tempDB, the SQL Server was not coming up. The main reason is the password got expired, which we are not aware. Unfortunately, we are not aware. Okay, so that is what I mentioned. The environment is part of two nodes and SQL Server agent was not coming up due to logon failure. So upon checking, the password got expired. So anyways, we reset that and we carried out with the change. So I explained up to fifth point. I'll come back later. Okay, let me now show you the scenario where my SQL services are not coming up and you need to guide me like what needs to be done here. If you see now, okay, this is tempDB. Sorry, this is the drive where tempDB file should be there, but it is not there. And if I go to SQL Server Manager, if I try to start this, see what happens. You need to understand this, guys, because this is something internal and many are getting confused with this. So I thought of better taking a session. So if I start this, it will fail. Okay, so let me refresh this. So see, it says it started, but if I refresh, it will be in stopped state. Okay, refresh this. See, stopped. So where should I check now? First place. Obviously, error logs.
Error logs?
Yeah, I'm going with event viewer just for a second because yesterday the same thing happened to me and I was quick enough to realize what the problem was without even going to error logs. But I'll show you one thing. Just wait for it. Thanks, Patricia. Okay. We have a lot of performance issues these days. So that is the reason I'm not getting much chance. Yeah. So if you read this, so this is the error what you will get. Okay. Specified resource name cannot be found in an image file. This happens in real time also. This is not just with my mission. This is the exact error what I faced yesterday. The specified resource name cannot be found in an image file. So if you see this error, definitely it's the problem with tempDB. Okay, on Azure VMs. This will not happen with on-premises. This happens only on Azure VMs. That is also one more thing that you have to remember. Now, if I go to my uh, error logs, error log, and if I pull it down, so it says unable to open the file d:\mssql tempdb. It is looking for this location and it is not there, and that is the reason it is failing up. Okay, d:\mssql tempdb is not there, so it is trying to create that and it is not happening. So let's now try to create D drive MSSQL and see what happens. D drive MSSQL. I created that folder. Okay. And now I'm trying to start the services. Okay. Uh, it has now created the files and the SQL services are up and running. So what will happen if I restart the instance now? Okay. I'm just restarting the instance and see if anything happens to my SQL service. Okay, let's refresh. So no problem. Okay, so now we are in good shape. D drive is working fine. MS SQL folder is there. No issues. So what if someone restarts the server now? Okay, the next question is what if someone restarts the server? So now let's try to restart the server. Restart, plan, continue. It won't take much time. It will be super fast because these are just VMs. Let me connect again. The second node, right? Do you think it will be up and running or it will fail? Okay, the machine is ready. Got the comment. It will fail. Yeah, let's see that. So what needs to be done to persist this? Did I type something wrong? SQL Server Manager 13. Okay, I think here it is. SQL Server Manager 13. So before going to SQL services, we can check whether that folder is there in D drive or not. So MS SQL is still there. Okay. And if I go to SQL services, it is still there. So let me show you that node name also because I don't want to confuse you. Host name is node2. It is still persisted. Will I get this problem if I restart it now, or will I get this if I restart the server? Because I restarted the SQL services, it didn't cause any problem. I restarted the mission, it didn't, there were no problems. So do you think the issue is resolved with this, or do we need to take extra step? Or have you seen any errors? It is still in uh, intact. There are files running up and running, so no problem. Um, Let me restart one more time because I believe it should fail and it should not be in a position to create this MS SQL folder. If you place the files here, that's a different story. But if you are placing the files inside a folder, most likely this folder will not get created once you restart that. Let us do, instead of this restart, let's imagine someone stopped it from here. Okay, and I'll say stop. And I will start this and see if that works. Because just a restart, lucky enough, the file was there. I mean, the folder was there. Let's see it now. Take. Okay, meanwhile, we can discuss one more thing. So let me show you that uh, that that document. What is the document? Um, Always on failover. Sorry, what is that? Least timeout. Least timeout. What is that least timeout? I think I shared it somewhere with our group, right? Let me check here.
Yes, Vamsi. Yeah.
Mm, I did share it somewhere. Yeah, least timeout. I will try to explain this as well. Um, Before just let me check if it stopped. Yeah, it stopped now. So let me start this and see if that comes up. It's better to wait, or do you want me to discuss this in the meantime? Like, it's your choice. Anyways, let's wait for it because if I talk too much, it may confuse you. Could you please tell little bit about suspect or recovery pending situation always on? Yes, we do have a video for it. I will guide you. We already did that. Yeah, it started now. So let's connect and see what happens. If it persists, I wonder how come it is getting persisted. Let's see. Mhm. Test and all permissions. Yes, it has to fail. But it is behaving very strangely. I hope this is not registered with IIS extension also. I believe so. Let me see. Yeah, it's not even with IIS extension. Let's see. Let's see. Let's wait for it. Yeah. PowerShell script. Yes, we need to do all the stuff. But let's check this one more time. How come it is working here? It came up. D: MSSQL. Come on. Yeah, there you go. So it's lost now. Okay. So, see, restart. It's okay, fine. We were lucky enough to escape that issue, but someone stopped it from Azure portal, or if someone shut down, I didn't shut down, I just restarted it, right? So I don't know, like it may happen sometimes. So if that is the case, we need a permanent solution rather than, coming up and creating the MS SQL folder and starting the SQL services. That is not the right way. So what should be done to avoid this scenario? Okay, so there is something called as SQL IAS extension. Okay, there is something called as SQL IAS extension. So if you create any machine from marketplace, okay, if you create any machine from marketplace, that comes with IAS extension naturally. You don't need to do anything. But if you create missions manually, because that is what we do in real time, IAS extension will not come up for you. Okay, you need to do that manually. So how to register IAS extension, I will show you later. But now what we need to do is we need to create a PowerShell script to avoid this from happening. Okay, that PowerShell script is very simple. It's just we need to test the folder is there or not in the D drive. So if that is there, don't do anything. If not, create that folder and then start the SQL services. So this PowerShell script should be placed inside a task scheduler and run that on the upon the server restart or SQL restart. So that should be there. If not, we need to register the IAS extension. I think we need both, but to test that, it takes time. So that is the reason I'm just showing you this PowerShell script for the moment. But I did register the mission also. So how to register, I will show you later. We just need two commands. These are the two commands. I mean, three commands. So once you run these three commands, it will get registered with IAS extension. And then you need not worry about that part. But we'll test this later because I think this can complicate the situation. So I will show you later, a bit later. Mm, what needs to be done now? Okay, we need to create the MS SQL and bring that up, right? So let me create that. You can make use of this for PowerShell script if you want. I can show you because this is the same thing I created on node 1. So we can use the same. Every time it is confusing me. How to put a condition that after restart that PowerShell script should run in the task scheduler. I told we can do, but how to do it? Let's wait for a second. Sorry, it's in the task scheduler. So how will you carry out that action? Like do this based on this trigger, right? Something like we need kind of a trigger. I'll show you that later, but let's start this. I think it will be up now by this time. Well, server manager 13. Yeah, it is up. So it is up and running. That's fine. Um, Let me go to node 1 and let's open SSMS. And there are two things that I wanted to show you today for the moment. And from Monday, I will start our sessions. So I will show you one more problem. Please provide the recorded. Yeah, it will be recorded. So Ravi Shankar is saying, yeah, beginning this task at the startup. So there is something called as triggers inside the task scheduler that we can make use of to run this. Uh, Wait a second. So what is this mission? It's in stop state again. Okay, it is my mission. Is it my mission? Getting confused with these windows. Okay, this is my mission. Sorry, mission on the server. Host name. Okay, everything is up. Okay, fine. Let me open Clue admin for a second. So I created always on with the DNN, but I would like to show you one small thing with respect to named instances. This is very important because people are getting little confused here. So I just wanted to clear this part. So what is DNN? As you can see, DNN is nothing but it will not have an IP for it. I mean, always on listener will not have an IP. So that configuration is called as distributed network name. So you, as you are seeing in my case, I don't have an IP. Sorry, I don't, yeah, I don't have an IP. I can see only a name. Okay. Now the scenario is I'm having named instance. I just wanted to complicate the thing. So that is the reason I didn't spin up from marketplace. I just, you know, just created the machine and installed the 2016 software and installed the 2016 SP3. So just for your information, to configure DNN on 2016 version, you need to have SP3. Without SP3, you cannot create the DNN. So now in my case, I have DNN, but let me show you the port numbers and all this part. Right now, I'm using port number as 1533 for SQL Server. Okay. For SQL Server, I'm using port number 1533. Just keep that aside. It is the same thing for Node 2 also. I'm running my SQL Server on 1533. So let me connect to the instance first. So imagine you need to drive a migration from on-premises to Azure VM. Okay. The client requirement is you should not make any modifications to the connection string. So that means that client is using default port 1433. So that is the client requirement. He doesn't want to change any names. So he wants the same names to that for the listener, especially because he is using listener in his connection strings. He cannot change that connection string because he is not sure where are the places that he need to modify that. So he is using listener name only. He doesn't want to add any port numbers. So that is the scenario what we have. So in that case, how can I make use of DNN? So that is the challenge what we have. Did you get the scenario first before me providing the solution? The scenario is in on-premises, you have always on setup and you would like to migrate the databases from on-prem to Azure VM. The main requirement is he wants the same listener name and he cannot modify the listener name and he cannot add any port number to it. Okay, because usually DNN, what it does is it cannot use 1433. It has to have its unique port, like 1733 or 1833, something like that. So once I change that up, you need to have listener name, comma, port number in your connection strings. But my condition is I cannot change my port number. I cannot change my port number. That is my requirement. So what should I do now? So can I make use of DNN in this case, or should I go with only load balancer? Because this is the question what I got from one of our mates. If you see now, I am running on 1533 for my named instance. Okay. And there is possibility for us to make use of 1433 provided if you are not using 1433 for your instances. Okay. It is still possible to make use of DNN uh, provided if you're not using 1433 for your instances. You can use 1433 for your listener. Okay, and I can show you now. So now if I come back and if I connect to listener without passing any names, okay, without passing any names, I can connect. See, I'm connected to the instance and right now it is primary. So if I connect to this, so it will show up as primary. So let's try to failover and see if that works. Failover. Okay, it got failed over. So this is secondary now. And let me connect to node 2 and this is primary. Okay, still we don't have any listener here. You see, still I don't have, sorry, I mean to say IP. We don't have IP. So this is happening with listener name only. So if I refresh this now, and it should show me node 2, as you can see. Okay, so I am not passing port numbers here. I'm just connecting with listener name only. But what I did in my case to avoid that connection string modification, I changed the port number of SQL Server. So SQL Server right now it is using 1533 for node 1 and node 2. And for listener, it is using 1433. So this is what you can do if you wanted to make use of DNN. Did you get the question and answer now? And now anyone can speak up.
Yes, Vamsi, got it.
Hmm. So now, if I wanted to make use of this reporting purpose. Let's test this because I didn't test reporting. So
Vamshi, can you please tell the answer once again?
okay. So if I wanted to configure DNN, let me configure it again. I will show you because if you want, I can show you. I can delete this or else what I did is very simple. I just ran that PowerShell script. I need to run the PowerShell script. For that PowerShell script, I need to pass AG name, availability group name. I mean to say availability group name, the listener name and the port number. Usually we will not pass 1433 here. Whenever you are doing a DNNs, we will use a separate port. We will use a separate port for DNNs. But if your SQL instances are using different port than that of 1433, you can use 1433 for your listener here. That's what I'm trying to convey.
I'm saying in that case, do I have to run browser service?
Browser service is required for your named. This is a named instance, right? As you can see. So this is a named instance. So in this case, you need browser, provided if you are connecting with instance name. If you are just running, if you are connecting with listener name, you don't need to go with browser service. Obviously, since we are in always on availability groups, we have to pass only listener names, not node names, right? Not replica names. So if that is the case, I don't need to have browser here since I am using 1433.
Okay, thanks.
Do you want me to drop this and create it again, or is it okay?
Yes, Vamshi. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so I think I got a chat. Means DNN and SQL Server is running on different port, like DNN 1435 and SQL 143. See just what happens now. Let's see. I will show you now. This is little confusing, so I will show up just to avoid this. Okay, now I'm changing the listener port to 1633. Okay, and SQL Server is running on 1533. Just imagine. So I just changed the listener port, and now I'll try to connect only with listener name without passing the port number. See, immediately it fails. You can't connect. Even the browser service is up and running here. You can't connect. You need port number. Okay, browser is up and running and we don't have any problems with firewall also. I disabled the firewall altogether. So no point of adding 1433, 1434, 1533, something like that. I disabled the firewall. So we don't need to add any inbound rules. Forget about that. So now the problem is it will not connect because I changed the port number of listener name to 1633. Until and unless I pass this, it won't connect. I have to pass this. Now it will connect. Are you getting now? So the problem is if the client is having a requirement where in on-premises, he is connecting with listener and he's not adding any ports. I mean, he is not passing any port number like this and he cannot change his connection string. That is his main agenda because he has some dependencies and he cannot change his connection string. If that is the case, what is my role as a DBA to achieve that requirement? What can I do as a DBA? Okay, so solution is very simple. If you use load balancer, no problems at all. So load balancer, you have to pass over there, it works there, no problem. But the problem comes only with DNNs. DNNs, you have to specify the port number along with your listener name if you are not using 1433. But problem is 1433 will be used by your SQL Server instances. If you can flip that, flip is nothing but if you can change the port number for instances from 1433 to some other port number and for listener as 1433, then it works perfectly fine. That is what I'm trying to convey. For instance, now if I change this to 1433 for named instances, okay, if I change this to 1433 and if I can't try to configure 1433 for listener also, it will fail. It will fail because there will be port conflict. SQL is using 1433 and listener is also trying to convey with, connect with 1433, which is not possible. Okay, so I'm asking it again. Is this clear? Hope I'm not confusing you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is the requirement. That is the solution what you can provide for your end users. If you don't want to change the connection strings and still wanted to connect with listener name only, you can do this. It is possible, but you have to ensure that the port numbers are different for your instances. Sorry, SQL instances, which is what I did in my case. I am using 1533.
That means this is only DNN specific solution,
Yes, this
right?
is DNN specific scenario. DNN specific scenario. It doesn't happen with load balancer or with multi-subnet in always on. With always on multi-subnet, you don't need to have either load balancer or DNN. That works differently. And this one is DNN specific scenario where client wants to move from on-prem to Azure, but still he doesn't want to change the listener name. He wants the same listener name. He cannot change the connection string. In such case, what should I do? Very simple. You just change the listener name. Sorry, you just change the port number for your instances from 1433 to some other port, free port, and then make use of 1433 for your listener name. That is what we should do, which is not being tested anywhere. That is the reason I thought of showing this up. Okay. And do you think my reporting works as expected? I didn't test this. If you want, we can test, or else we can skip this. It's your choice, guys. Like reporting in the sense, if I make this read only, secondary as read only, will the connections will be redirected accordingly or not? That is the next question, what I got for myself, but we can test this later. But you already told SQL is with 1533, how it is blocking for the listener. I didn't get this question. SQL is 1533, yes. How it will block the listener? So see, it's very simple, Pawan.
Vamshi here actually. The clarity is missing. The thing is, can you please tell the question and answer once again?
Okay.
Why? Because there was little confusion.
Question
Yeah.
is moving from on-prem
On-prem to cloud. Yeah.
to Azure VM. Okay.
Okay.
So that is the question. Sorry, that is the requirement. Okay.
Sure.
Condition. I'm saying condition.
Oh.
Condition is listener name should be same to that of on-premises.
Okay.
Listener name should be same. I cannot change the connection string. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm saying I cannot change the connection string. I cannot change the connection string. So whenever we are moving from on-premises to Azure, what are the different ways that we can leverage this? Whenever we are moving from on-prem to Azure, especially Azure VMs, there are three ways. One is LB, nothing but load balancer. Second one is DNN. And the third way is multi-subnet.
Multi-subnet.
Okay, these are the three different ways. So currently I'm using DNN. I feel that
Okay.
DNN is easy because I don't need to
Have IP.
sorry, that load balancer creation and all. I don't need load balancer. So load balancer creation and it will take some time, right? So to avoid this, I went with DNN. Okay, is this clear until now?
Yes.
Okay, so now the question is, I cannot change the connection string. That means
Port number should not change.
port number should not be changed. In always on, what happens is that, especially in on-premises, we will not make use of 1433 for your always on. Okay, we will use something else, some other port,
Right. Yes.
some other port, because you cannot have same port. Let's see that what happens if you try to make use of same port, just for your information, since you said.
Okay.
So this is 1533, this is 1533, right? So what happens if I change this to 1533? Will this work or not? Let's test that part first. I think something is happening because it is not responding. Okay, instance is up. Cancel this. Why it is round and round? Let me disconnect this.
See here actually listener name is nothing but our virtual SQL server name.
Virtual, yeah, listener name is virtual SQL server name. Yeah.
See, whatever SQL server it is running with the same port 1433 only. Am I right?
Here in this case, I'm connecting with
DNN.
DNN. That is first thing. I think node 2 is not connecting, right? If you see here, node 2 is not
Yes.
connecting. Just a second. Let me check the services. Is it up and running? Nodes are up. Okay. Node 2. Where is node 2? This is node 2. Refresh. It is up only, right? Okay, this is very interesting. Let's check that. Why I'm not able to connect to node 2. SQL 216. First, I'll connect with node 1. Node 1 is fine. Let's connect to node 2. Okay, let's add port number. Just why? It is connecting till now, right? What happened? Yeah, listener is also up. Okay, it took some time. Not responding. Please respond. I'm doing some work.
You
Port
have
num-
changed the port number, I guess.
Did I? So for a SQL instance, it is 1533 only. I didn't change anything.
No, you did not change.
Okay.
SQL instance, I'm talking about SQL instance. SQL instance, it is 1533 for both the servers. If you see here, this is also 1533. Yeah, 1533 for node 1 and node 2. I didn't change anything. I changed it for listener only. I'm connecting to instance, right? So why it is taking time? Let's check that. Yeah, it's connected. It's connected, but
Not fully.
Yeah, something is fishy. Let's check what is happening. It came, eventually it came, but it's very slow, very, very slow. Unnecessary troubleshooting needs to be done. Let's check that. What is happening? Stop listening on network port. Started listening. Nothing is here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's check there. Somehow it is reacting slowly. There are no errors, but it's very slow. Yeah, finally we got this. So let me, this is primary, I believe so. This is primary. Let's flip this because this is not responding faster. Just try to fail over and then we'll use node 1. So now your question is what happens if I change this to 1533 even for listener? That is your question, right? Or is it something else? Right now it is 1633.
Okay.
Okay, so if it is 1633, if I wanted to connect, I have to make use of listener name, comma, port number. Else it won't connect. That's what I'm trying to convey. So if I try to connect with this, it will connect. Okay, but if it is something like, let's wait for it. Let's wait and see because I think some 1633 only, right? Yeah, I think 1633 we have seen this. Why it has become slow all of a sudden and taking time? It's not my day, it seems. By the way, you can see something like lease timeout, right? Where is that lease? Let me show you this because many people, yeah, this is the one. Guys, this comes naturally. Okay, this comes naturally for every failover. Doesn't matter whether it is manual failover or automatic failover. Doesn't matter. But don't think this as a least timeout issue and try to increase your values. That is not the case. I have seen few people in our group saying that least timeout value needs to be increased. That is not the case. Okay, please do remember that. There is no way that is related to our issue. It's not least timeout issue. Um, let's because this operates at DNN level, right? So if your DC mission is not responding, so you will see these kind of issues. I think DC is running, right? Let me check that part. If DC is down, then you will see these errors. Refresh. Yeah, DC is up and running. Let me connect to DC as well. Shit. 128.251.16.74. Did I made any mistakes? If you guys are watching, right? I don't think I made any. Mohan, you are trying to share something or what?
No, sir.
Because I got something from your end. Okay, let's connect it again. Oh my God, this is fishy. Let's try to change this. It worked, I expected. Let me change this to 1433 for a moment. And connect to listener. Yeah, node, I mean, listener is not responding. Equal is up. Service is up.
Here I think you need to bring offline and online in the cluster manager.
Yeah, let's do that. Before I do, let me check DNS. Yeah, it is still there. Okay, how about DNS manager?
I think that port also you need to.
Yeah, if you see, it is registered with both the IPs. 11 is IP for one node and 10 is IP for one more node. So my listener is created with both the IPs and it is using the IPs of the machine itself, 11 and 10. Okay, so it is there, no problem. In the similar fashion, yeah, you can see node 1 is 11 and node 2 is 10. So it is using the same IPs. It's very clear. That's fine. So let's connect now. As you said, we can restart because we are playing with port numbers a lot. So it's better to restart that once. Take offline and bring that online. Okay. And let's just disconnect once. Now it is with 1433, right? So let's connect with, yeah. We just flipped port numbers here and there. So that is the reason. Okay. So now let me disconnect and connect to the instance and change this to 1633. So it is for you, Pawan. If now I'm able to connect without passing the port number. If I change this to something else, I need to pass the port number. Otherwise, it won't connect. See, by passing the port number, I am able to connect. If I don't pass the port number now, since I am with 1633, it won't work. It will fail. It will try to reach that and it won't happen. Got it? Pawan, is this clear now?
Yes, Vamshi.
One more thing, why you guys think that if I have the same port numbers, what will be the conflict? Can you answer this question smartly with the right answer? Why can't I use 1533 for instance? For example, just imagine 1433 only. You are just a huge fan of 1433, right? So imagine those are default instances and I wanted to make use of 1433 for listener also. Do you think it is possible? If not, why? What is the right answer for that? Anyone? This question is open to all. I'll tell you now. In this case, I'm talking about DNN. Okay, why it is not possible to allow the same port number for instance and listener? Very simple answer. Watch this carefully. Someone has pinged. But Pawan, are you there? Is it now or it's okay? This is old question. Okay, I thought you confused me. On-prem lift and shift backend. Yes, you can do lift and shift. That is different story. Yeah, so it's already server IP mapped to DNN. So yeah, that is correct, Mahi. So the answer is here. The answer is here. If you see here, my server is connected with 10.1.0.11. Okay, my second server is connected with 10.1.0.10. Okay, so whenever we are connecting, okay, internally, what happens is that whenever we are connecting, all our connections will use TCP connections, right? It's nothing but TCP protocol. TCP protocol is nothing but it make use of sockets. I'm letting you know the underlying reason. Okay, TCP protocol and it uses sockets. What is socket? Socket is nothing but it's a combination, unique combination of IP address, comma, port number. So that is what happens internally because IP address is network layer. Okay, IP address is network layer and the port number is transport layer. So that is the combination that is helping us to connect to any mission or any application, not just SQL Server. I'm talking about general. Okay, so this is what happens. So now, if you see here, right now, my first mission, which is node 1 is using 10. what is the IP? 10.1.0.11. Okay. And I'm using 1533. Okay. For node 2 also, I'm using the same port number. So it is 10.1.0.10. Sorry, 0.10, 1533. Is this not unique? Both of them unique because this IP is different, this IP is different. So that is the reason, no conflicts. So now coming back to listener. So since this is DNN, okay, this is DNN. When I say DNN, it uses the IP of your replicas only. It will not have dedicated IP. It will not have dedicated IP. So it uses the IP of your machines that are participating in the Windows cluster. So now what it has to do, it has to take the IP of either first machine or second machine, right? So you are creating a name for your listener name. So listener name, in my case, I said something like, what is that? MySQL listener something, MySQL listener. Okay. MySQL listener. But what is the IP of MySQL listener? If you check over there, as you can see, it is taking the IP of either this or that. Whomever is primary takes the IP of that machine, right? So whenever it is taking that, so what, as I said, IP address and port number, right? So when MySQL listener is taking, it takes the IP address of node 1 or node 2, whomever it is primary. And if you're trying to go with 1533 only, it is a conflict, right? It is a conflict because it is already being consumed by your respective replicas. If that is the case, I cannot make use of that to make this as unique. So I have to go with some other port number so that at least this combination, IP address comma port number, will be unique. Got the concepts now? Is this clear or it's still confusing? This is what happens internally, guys. I'm just giving you the right and appropriate internal answer for this issue. I want from Pawan, because I think you are the one you got confused. So if you can talk, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, it is understood. I understood.
Yeah, so that combination should be unique. So since my SQL listener is using this IP or this IP, I have to have separate port number. If I use the same port number, then I cannot create a socket connection. So it will fail. So that is the reason I should have a separate port number for my listener in case of DNN. So in your on-premises, why this issue is not there? Because in your on-premises, you will have a dedicated IP, right? You will have a dedicated IP, separate IP. So something like 10.1.0.12. So it will be there. So just imagine the 10.1.0.12. So if that is the case, I can use the same port number to that of your instance, because my combination is unique. If you see here, let's say, for example, 1533, is this not unique? Because I'm using a dedicated IP. Dedicated IP means I'm getting a separate IP and I can use the same port number no matter what, whether it is SQL instance. I mean, you can make use of same port number to that of SQL instance because this combination is making that as unique. But in this case, I cannot get unique combination until and unless I change my port number. So that is the reason in DNN, our port number should be different from that of SQL instances. Got the concept now? Now, please, someone please do talk, because if this is clear, you are very good at internals and you will not have any doubts.
Clear.
So what actually you're trying to say is, if you want to use default port number for DNN listener, we must change the port number of SQL Server.
Yeah, if you want 1433, okay, if you want 1433 for your listener, DNN listener, then
you must change the port number for SQL
instances. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a simple concept. But
got it.
Thing is that you have to understand very clearly why you are doing this. That is the reason I came up to DNS zone and opened this up, and I'm showing you all this part.
Yeah, understood.
Okay. So
So
now
uniqueness should be there.
exactly.
Whenever
Uniqueness should be there whenever you are trying to connect to any server. So it is nothing but yeah, it should not be. It should not get conflicted either with port number or IP addresses. That is the reason you should have a unique combination. IP and port number should make that as unique. So this is a very simple. If I just correlate this, this is nothing but a composite index, where if this two combination makes unique, you will be added to that table. So that is what happens internally. So if you can answer something like this, then you are very good at internals, and also there will not be any doubt circulating in your minds as long as this concept is clear. Okay, so now, yeah.
So Vamsi, in this concept, if I have two AZ, then second AZ the port should be different, right?
Yeah, second AG port should be different. Yes, obviously it should be different. Now, what about the this question? This question is there in my mind from a long time, but I didn't check that part really. If I wanted to change the password for service account, should I change this on primary or should I change this on secondary first? What's your thought on this? I will test this now. Any new messages? Clear, Vamsi. Okay, thanks, Pawan. So my next question, next scenario, if I wanted to change the password for my service account, okay, where should I change that? Should it be on primary first or should it be on secondary? What is the right way to change the password?
It should be on secondary.
Let's do that. This is the service account. Okay. I would like to change the password for this. Let me change this. So reset password. I'm changing the password now for the service account. Right now, what is primary? Let me check that part.
Node 2.
Okay, I will just check because I'm a bit worried with different combination. I played left and right, so just wanted to double check. I can check it from ClueAdmin. I can check it from SSMS. I'm just checking from ClueAdmin. Roles always on. Right now it is on node 1. Owner is node 1. Okay. So now I'm changing the password for always on service account. I'll just change this to some other thing. Remove this. Okay. Password has been changed. Okay. Now what should I do to update this password in always on? Should I do this on primary or should I do this on secondary? You said secondary. Let's start from secondary. So I'll come here. Where is configuration manager? Here it is. Okay. Let me check if I'm node 2. Host name. Yeah, node 2. And let's go to the services and try to change the password. Properties. I'm updating to a newer password. And restarting that instance. And now let's check if replicas are intact or not. Let me refresh this. There you go. Down. Okay, we did this on secondary. We didn't do anything on primary. We just changed the password on secondary. And immediately our replication, sorry, not replication, always on secondary replica is not in connection with primary. It got terminated. The connection got terminated. Replicas are not in sync. Okay. So this is what happened yesterday with me also. That is why I mentioned clearly in the document step by step the steps what I have carried out. And I said I will come back later. Now you will get to know. So after changing the service account, okay, the replicas were out of sync. Exactly the same thing happened with me yesterday. So I will show you the error message also. It will be one at the same. Don't worry. Most likely it will be the same. So let me check the error logs of both node 1 and node 2. I'll just close this. I'll make a new connection. Always on availability. It's it came back with sync. Oh, that's very strange. But for a moment it was in disconnected state, isn't it? It was in disconnected state. Where is any database? I didn't add any database. Oh my God. Anyways, doesn't matter. It's not about databases. It's about the connection between primary and secondary. I think that message should be there. Let me check on secondary as well. But how come it came online without my intervention? The same thing happened to one of our group members where she was struggling because the passwords got changed and it got messed up completely. So that is the reason I said I wanted to just show this up, but I didn't practice. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just coming up directly what I had faced just last day. Okay. So it got terminated, connection established, but it didn't show anything. Okay. Let's now change shall I do this one more time just to show up? It worked, yeah. Admin. Sorry, forgot to uncheck that. Okay. And now I will try to upload this on secondary and see if it is coming up online by default. Now it is in sync. That's fine. Let's change this. Oops. Do you think it will start now?
No.
It will fail. The same scenario happened with me. My password for the service account got expired, which I'm not aware. So I was trying to start that instance and it failed. And I got the right password and I started this on secondary and it got disconnected. Let's do the same thing. Come on. Just be little.
You need to change the password here.
Yeah, I'm doing that. After changing the password, it will get disconnected from primary. We just noticed that, but all of a sudden it came back again. So that is the reason. So let's start this. Okay. And now let's go to node 1 and refresh this. You can see this. It's in disconnected state, right?
Because you have restarted the services in secondary node. That is the
Yes.
intermediate issues, correct?
Yeah. So as you can see, now my AG is broken because I changed the password on secondary. Okay. I changed the password on secondary and it's not being updated on primary yet, as you can clearly see, right? So you can do it from here. I can do it from here. So if you check the error messages, let's check the error messages now. Yeah, this is what I'm trying to do. Okay, now it makes sense. Can you see this? Can you see this message? Database
Yes, bro.
failed. It's the same message is what I got yesterday. Okay, so I mentioned this very clearly in my document. Now what should I do to prevent this error? So is this not real-time issue? I am just replicating the same scenario. What should I do to overcome this problem now immediately? Just imagine this is real-time and clients are shouting. As a DBA, what should I do to make this up? Okay, it's still in disconnected state. Fine. So now I have to change this password on primary as well, right? Do you think I can go or any issues?
But without server, how can we change the
Sorry,
primary to server?
sorry, I didn't get you. Come again.
Without any server, either primary or secondary server, How can we change the always on?
No, I'm not getting your question. Sorry for that. So what I did, I changed the password on secondary server. Okay, upon changing the password, now it is not in sync. It got disconnected. Okay, it got disconnected. So when I check the error logs, this is what error logs is talking about. It's on node 2. This is the messages. These are the messages what I'm getting. Database mirroring logging attempt failed. Okay, same thing here. Even on node 1, it will be the same story. Okay, let me run this also. It will pop up with almost same messages. But anyways, we have this on secondary server. Okay, database mirroring login attempt fail. What should I do now so that I can bring my replication back to always on? I mean to say always on. When I say replication, nothing but always on. So always on to be in sync state. What should I do? Let me change the password on node 1 as well, right? I have to change the password.
Huh?
Do you think changing the password will help us?
I think so.
Let's check that. Let me restart.
Hey, keys is sorry, Ammo.
Oh, okay. So I just changed the password on node 1 and I'm trying to start. I need to drop off now. Anyways, I'll try to finish off this quickly. It got started and now let's see what happens to my always on. Refresh. So this has become secondary. Okay. So, and now let's check this side, primary. Okay. So both are in sync state. So if you are changing the password, my question is, should I change this on primary or should I change this on secondary? So we started this on secondary, right? We started this on secondary and secondary went into disconnected state. It got terminated from the primary. So is that the right way or is there something else that we have to carry out?
But why this happening? It should not happen, right? Because the password is not replicating or anything.
The password is not getting replicated, but what happens is that internally the endpoint is there, right? So your service account should have permission on endpoint. That is first thing. Whenever the password gets changed, okay, the connection is getting terminated, and it says log on attempt failed 67. So I will show you what is this 67. Let's check that. Net help message 67. Network name cannot be found. So it is not able to reach that the other replica. And it says, if you say something like state 67, you can get that message from net help message. So it is saying network name cannot be found. So my only question is, if this happens in real time, what is our approach? Should I change this on primary or should I change this on secondary? What is the right way to change the password in always on availability groups? That's
I think it is to start with the primary because this will avoid the downtime.
So if you start this on primary and imagine, let's do it tomorrow. Okay. It's the same scenario. I mean, on Monday, I will continue. On Monday, I'm having bunch of sessions for you, interesting sessions. I will, because today I was not prepared. I'm doing it on the fly, but still I was able to do whatever that is possible from my side. But on Monday, I have bunch of series of questions lined up, scenarios. I mean to say scenarios. Then you will get to know all this stuff. I need to disconnect now because it's 5:45. I will disconnect and I will share this session and we can connect on Monday. Get ready from Monday. So that sessions will continue. There will not be any pass.
Vamsi,
Yeah.
how, how I know that when you have this session? Today is my first session actually.
Shushant, right?
No, this is Sadiq.
Sunday. Okay. I usually, if you join my group, I will post over there. How to check resource DB as a memory pressure? See, resource DB will not have any memory pressure because resource DB itself is read-only database. So you can't make any modifications to have that pressure on resource DB. So I am not sure like how it is related to resource DB. I'll take questions later, guys. I will drop off now. But as I said, let's continue because I need. So now I hope this document makes some sense, right? You understood my problem yesterday, what I faced. If you go through this document, you will be able to understand what I mentioned. And also there is one more stuff like cluster least timeout errors, right? So least timeout errors, you have just seen least timeout. Even now, I think least timeout errors would have happened. Let me show you that part. See, least timeout message is there. Does it mean that least timeout happened in my case? I don't even have databases also. It's just the replicas what I just created. So don't just pass this message to me and saying that least timeout happened, Vamsi. No, that is not the case. Least timeout will happen even if you do manual failover, automatic failover, it will happen. So this is not the right way of troubleshooting least timeouts. So that is why I said I prepared a document. You should have proper investigation. Like I will talk about this document on Monday. Okay. So I have to stop it now, guys. So I'll come back later.
Usually for this always on service accounts, they said password never expired, right?
If you do that, again, it's a security breach. So if
But
you're
if
going
we
with the
do,
GMSA, that is fine because changes happens internally. But if you don't set it up, I mean, some companies will ask you to change the service account passwords regularly. So it is their practice.
then if we set like this every time is a problem, right? Password
Yeah, it is a
expire.
problem. You have to have an alert for that account and you have to change the password. So that is why I said, get ready for Monday. Like I
So we
have
need
this
to
stuff.
take downtime, some downtime, and need to change, right?
Yeah. Obviously.
Okay.
Sorry,
No,
I came.
sorry, I have to disconnect, guys. So I'm very sorry because if I don't do it, my baby will be there at crutch. So I will take your questions. You can ping me on my WhatsApp.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.